Today's subject is no joke, but it's a big problem among Jehovah's Witnesses and needs to be spoken about. And people need help with this. Today's subject is, why do Jehovah's Witnesses have a suicide rate far exceeding that of the general public? If you are a Jehovah's Witness or anyone contemplating suicide, please talk to someone. There are 2 numbers posted, suicide hotlines. There are people here who will help you, and they want to talk to you. If you are a Jehovah's Witness, it is most likely you know someone who has committed suicide. Probably someone in your own congregation. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, 3 of my friends committed suicide. Today we're going to look at what causes our members to commit suicide and how we can help prevent this. We're going to go over some thoughts and feelings you might be having as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Remember, you are not alone.
I'm worried that I won't make it to Armageddon in good standing with the organization. Suicide will keep me from the embarrassment and the pain associated with being shunned by my closest friends and family. If this organization is wrong, then I'd rather die. I've spent my entire life there. I'd rather die than lose everything I've ever known. If I lose favor with the congregation, then I will be killed in Armageddon with the rest of the non-witnesses.
These thoughts can be overwhelming, and a lot of witnesses are feeling the same way you are right now, but you are not alone. Watchtower has taught you that upon death, your record of sin is wiped clean. Yet for those who survive to Armageddon, they will be judged by their deeds and faithfulness to the organization. It appears that in dying, one is better off than alive. I can assure you the organization has not died for you, and this organization cannot save you no matter what it is that they are claiming. This is Jesus speaking to you.
And we discussed things, and Jane looked me in the eye again and said, Hannah, what do you have to live for? What do you have to live for? And do you know what? That's disgusting. How dare she ask a human being, what have you got to live for? And she's trying to tell me the only thing I've got to live for is for that religion and serving that religion. It's disgusting. It's vile. I'm at a dangerous level some days where I don't know if I can carry on. And if I, in an awful circumstance, actually took my life, they are responsible. The Jehovah's Witnesses are responsible for people that commit suicide when they are shunned. It's disgusting. And I need help to get through what I'm going through, and I know there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people, and that's why we make these YouTubes, because we're all fucking desperate for help and some form of comfort and understanding, and that's why we research and we love these videos to find out more so we can figure out what's going on. So yeah, so anyone that wants to offer some more support advice, great. On a side note, I'm looking to better my future. I'm redoing my GCSEs, and I'm going to be doing a counselling course because I think that would be lovely. I need to get some counselling myself, obviously, but in the long run, I think like mental health is a big deal, and religions really trap people and ruin their mental health, if I'm honest, because it's telling them with religion will make your problems better, rather than just dealing with it and taking ownership and responsibility for yourself and building a life for yourself. Instead, it's saying believe in this and it'll all be all right. Well, that's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. Paradise isn't real. It's never going to be real. It's a story. Paradise is what we make it. So speaking to Jane and her husband, I said, so what are you going to be doing in the paradise? And he's like, we're going to have a house on the beach. And I was like, well, why can't you have a house on the beach now? And the reality is, if we work hard, we can have whatever visualizations of happiness we want if we work hard at it. And when we were Jehovah's Witnesses, we worked really hard and suffered because we thought we were going to get paradise. Well, let's take ownership and responsibility for ourselves and make a future. I'm doing this to encourage myself and to hopefully encourage you. I don't want to die, as much as some days I feel like it's too hard because we don't have many people to rely on. But it's okay. We're going to get through it. So keep going. I've got your back. Please have mine.
As a man and grow in his faith. He became an elder in the Jehovah's Witness organisation, husband, and also a father to 2 very small girls when he was diagnosed with having it's very difficult, having a mental disorder. Unfortunately, Paul committed suicide, and this really, really shocked me. It hurt me so much that the person that saved my life, I was unable to help him. But I'm very grateful to him that I'm alive, that I am a husband of Monica of over 20 years, father of Charlie, and have been able to contribute in such a meaningful way in society, even after I left the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, aka Jehovah's Witnesses. But this is the point. How has the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses treated those left behind? Well, I'm going to tell you how they treat them and how they have treated them in the past. Another friend of mine, and I have permission to tell this story, his name is Richard, and he's one of my very best friends. His family were all Jehovah's Witnesses, zealous and faithful, and very active in their faith. Anyway, at some point his father became unwell, mentally unwell, and he was diagnosed with a mental disorder himself. And then sometime later, he didn't return home. So they all went looking for their father. Unfortunately, his son, Richard, my friend, thought of places that his father maybe could visit, and he happened to chance upon his father's car, and there he found his father had committed suicide. This was absolutely and utterly distressing to him to find his father dead. Just imagine this. A wife has lost her husband, her best friend, the breadwinner for the family. The children have lost a loving father and also a best friend. And on top of that, Richard the son finds his father dead in a car from suicide. Imagine that distress. I'm going to ask you a question. How do you think that Jehovah's Witnesses handled that situation? Do you think that they threw their arms around them, looking after them in their darkest hour, comforting them with scriptures from the Bible maybe, and the hope for the future? Do you think that they showed that they were part of the most loving people in the world, the happiest people in the world, living in a spiritual paradise, being provided a banquet of spiritual food from the governing body emanating out of New York? Do you think that's what happened? Well, if you did, unfortunately, that isn't the situation. This is what happened. Two elders arrived at their home and told them this, that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses viewed anybody that committed suicide as committing the unforgivable sin, quote unquote, and that their father was not going to be resurrected. Because of this unforgivable sin and him having virtually no chance of ever being resurrected, it was not possible for Jehovah's Witnesses to even conduct the service, the funeral service. Could you imagine that? You've lost your husband, your partner, the breadwinner, the father of your children. Your son has found his father dead in a car. And what do Jehovah's Witnesses offer? Condemnation and judgment and public humiliation. Does that sound like a loving group of people? Does that sound like the happiest people in the world living in a spiritual paradise? You make your own mind up about that. The only positive out of this is that my friend Richard is no longer a Jehovah's Witness. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Matthew Christopher. Thank you for your support.